5th Common Council meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman President Frankie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Clerk Treasurer Porte.
Councilman Frankie?
Here.
Councilwoman Huffman? Present. Councilman Ficus? Present. Councilman Galloway?
Here.
Councilwoman West? Here. Councilman Buchanan?
Here.
Councilwoman Konechny?
Present.
All present.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Petitions and comments of the citizens. I do not have any public comment cards, and online, no comments. Standing committee reports. Council President Frankie.
Redevelopment Commission met last Wednesday on July 31st. Bills were paid, and the Redevelopment Authority authorized a resolution allowing the Redevelopment Commission to start a bond issuance process to fund projects in 39 North and the Thomas Rose Industrial Park. Use of TIF funds were approved to be used for infrastructure improvements in the Thomas Rose Industrial Park, which will help a future connection to the 39 North area in order to boost their water flow. Motion to approve a bid to Ferguson Waterworks in the amount of $500,940.50 for this project was made. The motion passed. A purchase agreement was entered to sell a parcel of land in Newport Landing to the same developer as the one that purchased the Don George property. We can expect construction there next year. Finally, a development agreement was entered between Full Tilt and the Redevelopment Commission to provide them with a parcel of land in Newport Landing in order to build out a family fun center. The land's located behind Kroger and adjacent to the Dunes Event Center. This will be a 33,000 square foot building with bowling, laser tag, mini golf, virtual golf darts, 100-game arcade, Ninja Warrior course, and a restaurant. The commission will be building a 250-spot parking lot for this center, which will also be used for overflow parking at the Dunes Event Center. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Also, Council President Frankie is on the Budget Committee. I wasn't sure if you wanted to share your complaints about police and fire at this time.
No complaints.
Councilwoman Huffman.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Traffic Commission meets tomorrow, 5 p.m. at the police station, and then Park Board will have their next meeting Wednesday, August 21st, 4 p.m. at the Park office.
Councilman Galloway.
Police Merit Commission will meet a week from tomorrow, the 13th, 2 o'clock at the police station. Saturday, we have a rib cook-off at the VFW. They want judges down there at 2:30, not a half hour late, sorry.
Won't be a problem.
And it's 15 for a half slab of ribs with 2 sides.
And I do have to say, if you haven't had these ribs, get down, when, this Saturday, correct?
Yeah.
It's
We have about
amazing,
14, 15 teams in it now.
amazing. Councilwoman West.
The bid board met in July, and the downtown benches and trash receptacles have been repaired. City planner Craig Phillips gave the board a copy of the inventory on the blocks in the bid district where the sidewalk pavers need repair, and a priority list will be made, and estimates will be shared from Paul's Construction as soon as they come in. The next bid board meeting will be Monday, August 12th at 5 p.m. in City Chambers. The Plan Commission met in July as well, and the plat for the Bailey Park subdivision, which is the 18th Street townhomes, was approved for a favorable recommendation to the Board of Public Works and Safety. And also, City Planner Craig Phillips presented a summary of the progress on the City Comprehensive and Transportation Plan that included the kickoff meeting with key city staff, Rendell Ernsberger and Associates, Lockmuller Group, and Compass Point Solutions. The next step is a public engagement over the remainder of the year, and that planning process will take approximately 18 months to complete. And the next meeting for that will be August 13th at 6 o'clock in City Chambers. And I'm really happy to announce that our fire department will receive $128,000 federal grant for safety upgrades for all three of our fire departments. This money will be used to buy diesel exhaust removal systems. These systems will greatly reduce exposure to harmful contaminants, including cancer-causing toxins known to exist in the exhaust of the diesel fuel-burning fire trucks. And the next Fire Merit Commission meeting will be Wednesday, August 7th at 6:30 at Fire Station Number 1. And the UEA meeting will be Wednesday, August 21st at 4 p.m. in City Chambers.
I'd also, as you mentioned, bid, I'd also like to thank Planner Craig Phillips for working with the team to getting back to basics. All the pavers and things are cute and nice, but getting back to concrete sidewalk and making things last over long periods of time is something I think we need to get back to, so they last, they're safe, and this has taken a long process. It's going to take a long process to change those out, but we'll begin that process soon. Councilman Buchanan.
Nothing to report this evening.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Airport Authority will meet next Wednesday, August 14th at 5:15 at the airport.
Recognition of first responders for overpass rescue. We talk about police, we talk about fire, and we talk about saving lives. And all we do is talk about it from our perspective. Our police, our fire saved lives recently, and I think this is an excellent thing to talk about. Chief Buell, Chief Snyder are going to come up in tandem, and welcome.
He'll just correct he'll just correct everything I say wrong. So yes, on the early afternoon of July 20th, our emergency responders were dispatched to the overpass for a possible suicidal person. At that time, normal dispatch went out. Our personnel responded, LaPorte County EMS responded, LaPorte City Police responded, as well as some sheriff's officers that were in the area. Without going into every single detail of this, I can tell you that this was a normal call, but an unusual call. We've dealt with these before. If you'll remember last year, there was a similar call to the overpass where there was a rescue made at that time too. Where we were with this though, and a lot of people don't understand, is that the individual had already made it up and over the fence. The only thing holding her in place at that time was a bystander who's yet to be named. We don't know who she was, and I don't know if your department has ever, or EMS or the sheriff's office. So my thank yous start there. And our personnel, when they relayed what had happened to me, they said this exact same thing. We have to start there. And when we started to talk about who should be called out, thanked for this, I had a few names in mind. And I will say that too, that those individuals said that we're not stepping up front because this was such a team effort from start to finish, from that individual bystander who stepped in there to the city police who showed up first on the scene. They took over from her, and I'll let Chief Buell probably talk a little bit more about that, but the fatigue by the end of this incident that took place for those officers, again, I can't say enough. I wasn't there. I can only imagine what they were doing for. I will tell you that they did even have to see some medical treatment afterwards because of that, the fatigue on them holding her. She wanted to go. She had no other desire but to go. So from start to finish, this was just short of a miracle in the making. And where this was different from what I mentioned last time when this happened, and I've seen several of the video counts of it, people are questioning our department in particular, why aren't they booming up a truck to her? Why aren't they booming up a truck to her? Where that was, the change was, is our ladder truck that was used last time to help in that rescue of an individual was not available. The transmission had, brand new transmission on it went bad. It was out of service, so we did not have it available. So that's where things started to move in a direction. As I mentioned, the city police already, the sheriff's office with their officers jumping in there to help out. We have some individuals on our department that are rope rescue technicians. They're part of a high-angle rescue team that we share with Michigan City and do trainings. Those people were in place. As I say, that was what started, was different. Those people with everyone else on the team jumping in there and giving us the time that was necessary to allow for our specialized team members to go ahead and rig up a system, get up and over the fence, and be able to lock her in and lower her down. Again, the trucks, those individuals, I mean, I'll say their name, I'm going to. Tyler Long and Captain A.C. Crusser were the two that are part of that team. Those are the ones that those videos showed. But what they didn't show was that Captain Presley even pointed out to me that behind the scenes, he's asking one of the officers, I need something to tie off to. He looked over his shoulder again, and there was a pickup truck, one of the police pickup trucks there with a winch on to tie off to. These type of incidents can take quite some time. Even if we had the ladder truck in place, it would have taken quite some time. Some people don't realize that. But the start to finish, this was over and done within 12 minutes. That is an amazing amount of time to set riggings up and get ready. These guys from start to finish, I keep saying start to finish, but it was an amazing rescue. That's why we're here tonight, to bring this before you, bring this before the public, and also to show you and bring these people up here and let them be recognized too for what they did. Am I taking too much time on you yet? Yeah. But again, I mentioned.
You take as long as time as you guys both need.
You mentioned the sheriff's office, EMS. As I look at those videos, and our personnel pointed out, EMS was on top of one of our rigs waiting for her to be lowered down to immediately take over care and get her to an ambulance and get her the help that she needs. So those are the things that people, I know they hear supporting police, support fire, support EMS, support the sheriff's office. They don't realize the partnership that goes together between all of our departments on a daily basis. And this is one of them where it just emphasized, because of that partnership, because of, the expertise that are there that serve the community and the members of this county, this city, it's just amazing. And it showed right there that there's a life that is saved, literally, and she's going to get another chance. And we hope that, and we pray that she will be able to move forward from that. So I told you I wasn't going to, or told AC and Tyler I wasn't going to call them out. So then I have to, in the same breath, I do have to mention firefighter Spencer Lita was on that truck with them. Captain Carl Wisniewski, firefighter Chad DeSallier was with on another engine, firefighter Cameron Watt, Battalion Chief Doug Bernacki, and firefighter Sam Doig, all from our department. From the Sheriff's Department, Captain Dallas Smythe, Deputy Jacob Payne, and Deputy Joe Walker were there. And from LaPorte County EMS, Elizabeth Spear, and he's going to kill me for this because I can't get this, but Andrew Macharella. It was a lot easier than I made it. Nice. A lot easier than what I did. But yeah, so from our point, and I'll let Chief Buell talk about him, because their department, because I've already taken them.
Thank you, Chief Snyder. Chief Dick Buell. It takes a team.
Andy, Chief Snyder really set up the scene well as to what happened. In regards to people and what they may think or criticize either the fire department or police department for certain things, that's a minuscule amount of the population. We don't pay attention to that. We do our job. And usually I like to have the gentlemen that write these letters here presenting this rather than myself, because they're on the scene. They're there and doing the job. So I have a couple of short letters to read, and for time's sake, we'll move on.
Please.
Day shift on 7/20/24 was dispatched to the overpass for a female subject trying to commit suicide by jumping off the bridge. When officers arrived on the scene, she was on the outside of the fence, about to undoubtedly fall to her death. With the quick thinking of Specialists Hagler, Cager, Gonzalez, Stewart, Officers Rivera and Utah, officers were able to grab a hold of her through the fence and hang on to her until the second responders, the fire department, arrived on the scene to lower her to the ground. officers had to hold on to the said female for extended amount of time. And it's my understanding that it could have been as long as 15 minutes. So you can imagine guys reaching through the fence, trying to hold on to her, dead weight, hanging over, what emotions that went through their minds at that time. Corporal Clayball, I just wanted to let everyone know what a great job the officers did. They did not hesitate to help and did everything in their power to save this young girl's life. Also, special thanks to Corporal Feldmeyer, who stopped to assist on his time off. What a great job by everyone involved. From Captain Aftowski, says, "Dear Commissioners, you had returned to work on 7/22 and learned of a suicide juvenile officers encountered on 7/20/24. I had heard officers displayed exceptional professionalism, acted quickly, and resolved the situation in a safe manner with hopes of getting the juvenile and her family the extended assistance needed to help the juvenile for a positive future. I then reviewed the report and body camera footage of the situation and was amazed by the professionalism of our officers. I also observed some good Samaritan citizens, especially an unknown lady who appeared to have been holding on to the juvenile prior to officers' arrival and continued to assist the officers as they arrived. Unfortunately, he did not know the name of this lady, and to this day we still don't. I also recognized several LaPorte City officers. I believe Corporal Clayball has recognized in his letter, Corporal Clayball has recognized in a letter of his own. Corporal Clayball did not want to be recognized himself, and therefore I would like to recognize the display of professionalism, supervisory management of what was transpiring, and keeping everyone safe while assisting the juvenile. I believe his efforts, along with the others mentioned in this letter, deserve a letter of commendation. I would also like to recognize Captain Dallas Smythe, Deputy Jacob Payne, Deputy Joe Walker, LaPorte EMS, and members of the LaPorte City Fire Department that assisted. From what I observed, this was a well-coordinated effort to assist the juvenile in a desperate need of assistance. Those involved ignored their own safety to assist this young juvenile beyond the aspects of just a regular tour of duty, and I believe they should be recognized. These letters will be placed in their personal packets and reflect in their past performance. Just another indication of how fire, police, EMS, everyone, when you're needed, we're there. We're there to do the job.
Hold on, not so fast. So, and the fire and police trying to get names and is like drawing blood out of these gentlemen because they talk about team, they talk about one, and it's not about individuals. So with that in mind, we want to make sure all those team members come forward together because they're about team, and we'd like to get a photo for the public to see, to remember from county EMS, Sheriff's Department, and our own fire and police, because you saved a life, and there's nothing more important than what happened. So we'd like to call those individuals, everybody up, including you two, and bring everybody together.
My brother-in-law.
And I thought they hired Tyler Long just to be a chef. Our council over here, or yeah, council over here. Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Bird?
Jack of all trades, but.
Yep.
Outstanding job.
We learned our lesson.
And just as a reminder, fire and police, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. We're not offended.
Have you seen the video?
Second and final reading. Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilwoman Ficus.
An ordinance vacating a portion of a public alley in the city of LaPorte located between lots 81 and 82 in Shore Acres Addition.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Councilwoman Ficus, you want to explain a little bit about this?
It's basically, it's on Lakeside Street. There, it's the two houses, the other resident had been notified to. There was already a driveway here when Botanas bought the house. We spoke with Nick, checked with NIPSCO. There's no easements. It's not going to affect the city in any way. So the two are just going to end up sharing. It came to Traffic Commission, and it was pretty straightforward.
Further discussion?
I think too, it'll result in probably a pretty significant improvement to the I think they plan to expand the property as well, which will increase property taxes.
Nice.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman Konechny, second and final reading.
Your Honor, I'd like to read an ordinance by title only for the second and final time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Konechny.
An ordinance to vacate a street or roadway in the city of LaPorte, Indiana.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. If you could explain this a little in further detail, Mr. Otis?
Yep. I made one addition to our ordinance since the last meeting in light of just concern about utility easements, because typically our language says that the street vacation is subject to any current easements, and there are no current easements because it's a road, so we don't have any current easements in place, but NIPSCO has utilities, and then we do as well. We spoke with Beacon, and they have no objection to signing the necessary easement documents. So under Section 1, just added language that the vacation is subject to any new easements for utilities for NIPSCO in the city of LaPorte. And I believe there's a representative.
Matthew Kirkwood from Beacon, representing Beacon. Any further comments? Please come forward. You're up. Come on forward.
Yes, any questions on that?
Please state your name and.
I'm sorry, my name is Matthew Kirkwood.
Was there any, I think one of the questions that I got at some point, Mr. Kirkwood, was if you guys had any plans to do anything, and I think just in talking with you, part of the parking lot is already on this area. I mean, was that the main issue that you just?
The parking and part of the building as well.
Okay.
And it was supposedly, and I don't have the history here, but,
Yeah.
20 years ago, they thought it was done.
Got it.
So it was by assumption that people move forward on their decisions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Further comments?
I wasn't at the last meeting, but obviously this is a part of a road that hasn't been used for as long as I can remember. So.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Second and final reading. Council President Frankie.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council President Frankie.
An ordinance of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of certain additions, extensions, and improvements to the municipal waterworks of said city, providing for the safeguarding of the interests of the owners of said bonds, other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Clerk Treasurer Parthone.
Write the motions down, thank you. Just as a recap, Tom Pittman from Barnes and Thornburg, our bond counsel, and Eric Walsh from Baker Tilly, who work with water and wastewater on municipal financial advising, spoke at the last council meeting. This ordinance is an authorization to borrow money both long-term in the form of bonds and short-term in the form of bond anticipation notes, with the interim bond anticipation note intending to go no more than 5 years and pay expenses needed in the nearest future. These are bond anticipation notes, so they don't impact rates yet. That discussion will come down the road. I don't know if there's any questions from council. They covered it pretty thoroughly at the last meeting. And that covers both sewage and waterworks. There's two different ban ordinances that work hand in hand. So this is the first of the two, then the next reading will be the second one.
But when we've talked about a $100 million problem when we took over with infrastructure that's 100 years old, we look away, don't pay for any infrastructure improvements, or we address it directly. Monroe Manor, letter and number streets, this continues to happen, and we see what happens every rain when it's not addressed and what people have to deal with. We're doing what we said we're going to do. This will continue that process. Questions, comments from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Buchanan, second and final reading.
Your Honor, I'd like to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Buchanan.
An ordinance authorizing the acquisition, construction, and installation by the City of LaPorte, Indiana, of certain improvements and extensions to the city's sewage works, the issuance and sale of revenue bonds to provide funds for the payment of the costs thereof, the issuance and sale of the bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance and sale of such bonds, and the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of such sewage works and all matters related thereto.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Again, Clerk Treasurer Parthone, this is the wastewater version.
Yep.
For the comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman Huffman.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to read an ordinance amendment for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Huffman.
Thank you. This is an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, as enacted August 21st, 2017, which is part of Chapter 82 of the Municipal Code of the City of LaPorte by amending the 2017 revised City of LaPorte Joint Zoning Ordinance.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Councilwoman Huffman, can you explain this in detail?
Absolutely. This ordinance amendment not only ensures that the 1,000-foot rule is continually looked after according to state law. Any vape tobacco retailers must be with no closer than 1,000 feet within any school zone. This also lays out that a vape and tobacco retailer cannot be within 500 feet of a daycare, a park, a religious organization or anywhere that children gather. This ordinance was incredibly important to myself, and I think the mayor as well, to ensure that the children of our community are able to play in safe areas where hopefully the out of sight, out of mind comes into play when it comes to vape and tobacco.
And this would also include any new
Correct. If it is already.
businesses that want to be on the main
Absolutely.
thoroughfare.
This, any existing business, this does not affect at all. This is really just to keep Lincoln Way. We have a lot of parades, we have a lot of family events, things that go on where we have a lot of children and teenagers. So if a vape or tobacco retailer wanted to open up shop on Lincoln Way, they would have to get special approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
And I would tell you that the times during the first term of this administration, going to certain facilities, knocking on their door, selling crack pipes. There are other things that are going on regarding vape. And Austin Eppel, who is the chief resource officer at the high school, and seeing the amount of vape instruments that they pick up from the bathrooms, and if you sit during passing period and you just hear, they have a detector in the bathroom, and just hearing it consistently go off during passing periods, we know we have a problem. And, you know, we have enough stores. It's not like we're looking for our next one. And like you said, this doesn't affect the current ones.
Correct.
Code enforcement is just confirming that the current ones have the appropriate sign permit that they're supposed to have, that they were supposed to apply for. Obviously, if they didn't, they'll be hearing from Mr. Batchelor, and those may have to come down, but that's something that they will address.
I do want to share that this wasn't just done as an idea. I did my research, and according to the most recent study from the Indiana Department of Education, there are approximately 360,000 high school students. 9.2% of them vape at least once every 30 days. 9.2% doesn't sound like a lot, but 9.2% of 360,000 is a lot of kids.
We have, and this isn't the only, there are plenty of vape issues going around and people selling them out of their cars. And high school kids can text and within 30 minutes have someone at their door for $30 and can pick up. I've seen it firsthand. So there's all kinds of opportunities, unfortunately, right now. And appreciate your work on this, Councilwoman. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman West.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the first time in its entirety. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Councilwoman West.
An ordinance authorizing purchasing agents of the city of LaPorte to make advance payments on contracts for public works and public works projects, goods, and services. Whereas the Indiana legislature recently enacted Public Law 181, which amends Indiana Code subsection 5-11-10-1.6 to permit political subdivisions to make advance payments for purchases of goods and services. Whereas Indiana Code subsection 5-11-10-1.6, 3 and 4 will allow a political subdivision to make advance payments to contractors to enable them to purchase materials needed for a public works project and advance payments for goods or services before the goods or services are delivered or completed. If the fiscal body of the political subdivision authorizes making advance payments and the goods or services are otherwise purchased in accordance with applicable law. Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code subsection 5-11-10-1.6, an advance payment made for goods and services or to enable the purchase of materials for a public works project may not exceed the lesser of 50% of the entire cost of the contract or $2 million. Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code subsection 36-1-2-6, the Common Council is a fiscal body of the city. Whereas pursuant to Indiana Code subsection 36-4-6-2, the Common Council is a legislative body of the city of LaPorte, and the common council previously established and adopted rules for public purchases by designated purchasing agents of the city by ordinance 98-19 as amended as codified in LaPorte Municipal Code Section 2-120. Whereas it is determined that it is necessary and fiscally efficient to authorize city purchasing agents to make advance payments in accordance with applicable law for goods or services before they are delivered or completed. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of City of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana as follows. Section 1, a purchasing agent of the City of LaPorte as defined and set forth in Common Council Ordinance 98-19 codified as LaPorte Municipal Code 1993 as amended. Section 2-120 may allow advance payment for the purchase of goods and services either directly or as part of a public works project consistent with and to the fullest extent permitted by law, and as further limited by the purchasing agent for the purchase. Section 2, the solicitation for a public works contract providing for advance payments for contractors to purchase materials for public works projects under Indiana Code subsection 5-11-10-1.6 must include the following information. A, that the City of LaPorte will make advance payments to contractors to enable contractors to purchase materials. B, any limitations on the amount of advance payments that will be made. C, requirements for documentation relating to making advance payments to contractors for materials. D, any other information about advance payment for materials the City of LaPorte considers useful to contractors to make offers. Section 3, the city fiscal officer or the city fiscal officer's designee must do all of the following with advance payments are made for goods or services prior to delivery of the goods or completion of services. A, track prepayments by defining the prepayment on a purchase order. B, create a prepayment invoice that is associated with the purchase order. And C, require insurance or a surety bond in the amount of the prepayment if the amount of the prepayment is more than $150,000. D, the only exception to Section 3 that would not require tracking prepayments or creating prepayment invoices are the following payments. A, federal tax payments. B, state tax payments. C, INPRS payments. D, payroll deduction payments. E, SBOA audit payments. F, utility billing payment processing fee. G, bond payments. H, health insurance claims. I, check orders for bank accounts. J, utility bill payments, including electric, gas, phone, cable, and internet. And the last one, special events, wire transfers at the discretion of the clerk treasurer. Section 4, advance payments made under Section 1 and 2 may not exceed the lesser of the following. A, 50% of the entire cost of the contract, or B, $2 million. Section 5, all the requirements for the payment of public works projects, goods, and services by the City of LaPorte remain in effect, and ordinances not directly contradicted by the provisions of this ordinance remain in full force and effect. Section 6, the sections, paragraphs, sentences, clauses, phrases, and words of this ordinance are separable, and if any section, paragraph, sentence, clause, phrase, or word shall be declared unconstitutional, invalid, or enforceable by the valid judgment or decree of a court of competent jurisdiction, such unconstitutionality, invalidity, or enforceability shall not affect any of the remaining phrases, clauses, sentences, or words of this ordinance. And the final section, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the passage, approval, and publication according to law. End of ordinance.
This is a first reading, will not pass this evening. Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Okay, this ordinance is putting into place Senate Enroll Act 317, which has to do with prepayments. It's not a common business practice for the City of LaPorte to do prepayments. We generally have to ask Board of Works or Council for approval in the past, and now this Senate Enrolled Act allows us a little bit of flexibility. Attorney Otis wrote this ordinance for us, and in certain instances, it's tough for us to not be able to do prepayments, especially as it relates to payroll. So federal tax payments, state tax payments, in-purse payments, which is retirement, payroll deductions, State Board of Accounts, all of that should be approved at a Board of Works meeting before they're paid. And it's just not a reasonable way for us to to do business in some of those instances. Generally, speaking, we do not do prepayments. You can see some of our bonds have been structured to lease roads instead of doing, like, the fire truck bond, for instance. We didn't use the fire truck as collateral, we leased roads for it. So this allows us a little bit of flexibility when necessary to prepay for, in particular, for my office, the clerk treasurer's office. In section 3D, it kind of spells out the prepayments that make sense outside of the rules that this ordinance puts in place. So in general, we would like to create a prepayment invoice, collect a purchase order, require a surety bond. In certain spelled out instances from section 3D, that's just not necessary. So we want to make sure that those are stated in there.
Attorney Otis?
And I think Ms. Bartun was just making clear the different things that they can do. Currently, there's no leasing of roads at this point, correct?
No.
Right,
The fire truck bond, we did lease roads,
Right.
but,
Meaning you offer up a road as a form of collateral?
yes,
Who would want a road?
nobody. We've just not been allowed to prepay for things until Senate Enrolled Act 317, so this allows us a little bit of flexibility moving forward.
And it's
we
their
have to-
language, not
We have
ours.
to put it into effect, we have to create an ordinance to be allowed to utilize that Senate Enrolled Act, so that's what this is doing. And from my office's standpoint, there are some day-to-day things that it makes sense for, just not to have a purchase order and have a surety bond. We have to pay federal taxes, we have to pay state taxes, we have to pay for everyone's retirement. So this makes things easier on everyone.
Attorney Otis, did you craft section 6?
Is there a typo in it? I'm waiting.
No, that's their job over there.
No, that, I would have likely borrowed that from what they provided, yeah.
Very good, thank you. It was the ultimate CYA. I
Yeah.
was just curious.
Further comments? Okay, we will move this to the August
What would that be?
15th meeting,
12.
12th,
12.
The 5th today, so it'd be the 19th?
19th,
Oh, 19.
not the
Knows when we're
12th.
coming in.
Not the 12th.
Councilman Galloway.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce an ordinance for the first time in one page instead of the entirety. Okay. You could be here all night, man.
Here all night.
Don't wake me up halfway through it, man.
Do the short straw, right?
A second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Galloway.
An ordinance vacating ordinance number 9-2007, 10-2007, and 11-2007, regulating post-construction activity and stormwater management, illicit charges, discharges, and connections to stormwater drainage systems, and construction activity, erosion, and sediment control, and creating a new ordinance addressing stormwater management. Whereas the City of LaPorte administration, after due consideration and consultation with the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, recommends to the Common Council that prior ordinances regarding stormwater management be vacated and a new stormwater management ordinance be adopted. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte that Section 1, ordinances number 9-2007, 10-2007, and 11-2007 be vacated. Section 2, the city shall adopt a new stormwater management plan, Chapter 98, as identified in Exhibit 1 to this ordinance. Section 4, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval by the mayor, and publication as required by law.
This is a first reading.
Ready? Here we go.
Attorney Otis.
Hey, thank you, and this was a request from wastewater and stormwater. Jerry Jackson could not be here tonight, but the updates to these ordinance, or in creating the new ordinance and vacating the prior ordinances, was in response to a mandate from IDEM, and we are simply complying with the mandates. And what it does, without going through 41 pages here, is give much stronger teeth to enforceability of stormwater discharges. So something that the mayor has been, when we talk about a combined sewer system and getting away from that, and then managing construction and making sure that they aren't improperly discharging into our system and into our creeks and into the rivers.
Questions, comments from council? We will move this to the 19th of August meeting. Now back to, when we set a standard for business coming into LaPorte, we don't take on all comers, but it's great to see this moving forward. And with that, Council President Frankie.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution read in its entirety for the first and only time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council President Frankie.
Resolution approving use of a tax abatement on real property taxes created by the construction of a new distribution center. Whereas IST Distribution has requested of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte approval to use a tax abatement on real property taxes created by the construction of a new distribution center located at 3148 North State Road 39, LaPorte, at an investment of approximately $24 million. And whereas it is in the public interest that the City of LaPorte avail itself of the Economic Revitalization Area Statement of Benefits provided by Indiana Code subsection 6-1.1-12.1 to stimulate economic growth within the community. And whereas on August 1st, 2024, IST Distribution filed with the city planner as required an application for consideration for a statement of benefits. And whereas IST Distribution agrees to comply with the conditions set forth in Resolution Number 90-2, Section 7, and whereas IST Distribution intends to construction a new 81,112 square foot distribution facility along 39 North at a cost of $24 million to build and equip. Whereas the city planner has prepared a report concerning such deductions. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte as follows. Number one, $24 million will be invested to build and equip this new facility. Number two, this new construction project will result in the construction of a new distribution facility that will bring in bulk plastic pellets via rail, repackage, and then ship out via truck. These plastic pellets will be used in food-grade packaging. Number three, that the creation of 12 new jobs making an average wage of $34 per hour, excluding benefits, as a result of this development can be reasonably expected from a project of this size. Number four, real property tax abatement on a 5-year term utilizing the attached abatement schedule on Exhibit A is approved. And the resolution.
This is a resolution and can pass this evening. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Bert Cook, Economic Development.
Good evening to Council. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. It is a funny dynamic we've created. I hold my breath whenever a resolution is read, hoping that there are no spelling or grammatical errors, because our police over here definitely catch all of them.
Jerry Jackson corrected me in an email, and apparently he was deputized by Mr. Frankie.
So I feel like I've been in front of you often this last year with projects, and that's always a great thing. This is another project that I'm very happy that we're able to present to you this evening. I'd start by telling you, there's obviously quite a bit of information within the resolution, but I would start by telling you, Jeff Swan is with me tonight. I appreciate Jeff and his assistance in this project. He's project manager for this deal, but also is working another project with us as well. Anything on 39 North has been a bit of a challenging project because of the annexation and the improvements to the infrastructure that were necessary to make any project like this possible. So appreciate the patience of Jeff, his team, in as we worked through all of those issues that were created by the need for this new infrastructure in the area. This distribution center, I think, fits really nicely with Hickman Williams, which is already built in that area. They're going to utilize the rail spur that already is on site there to access this parcel. It is about an 81,000 square foot building that would be constructed, about a $24 million investment. And again, you heard that they'll bring in plastic pellets via rail and repackage and ship those out. This is the Chicago South Shore and South Bend Freight Line Railroad that serves the site. So few of us were able to tour kind of their entire line through LaPorte not long ago, and we drove directly behind the building and kind of got a good firsthand look at how this accesses the parcel. There would be 12 jobs created with an average wage of $34 an hour. And we used an abatement schedule that has a 5-year term, and it's a flat, static 50% savings for the company. So they pay 50% of their real property taxes, and they save 50%. I think that becomes very important because we obviously just started the process of what is a significant bond issuance for this area to make the $13.5 million improvements to the water system that are necessary for this project to be built. Again, they've been through the site review process with the city. I appreciate all the department heads that have worked on this. We've had to put our heads together to figure out some ways that we can work together to make sure that we're allowing them to build in the timeline that they have in front of them, but also keeping everyone safe and integrating that with the infrastructure improvements we're making in that area. Particularly thankful for Andy Snyder, Chief Snyder, for his work, because I think fire protection is one of those items that we're very mindful of in the area, at least until the improvements are completed and the water service is improved for that entire area. So I'm happy to answer questions you have about the incentive. I may be able to answer questions about the project itself. Again, Jeff is here as well. If you have something that I can't answer, I'm sure he will be more than willing to do so, and appreciate your consideration of this.
These are set on an average $70,000 jobs.
Correct.
When we've heard from the public talk about what type of jobs people want, they're talking about $50,000. These are $70,000 on average jobs. I guess one question for Jeff Swan. Jeff, and welcome to LaPorte. Do you mind coming forward? Would this project have happened? Would this project have happened if we did not annex and are in the process of making the appropriate upgrades to the water infrastructure?
No, Mayor. When we first started looking at this project and thinking about the purchase of the property, the main reason we wanted it was due to the rail system there, the Chicago South Shore, which currently comes into Hickman Williams dead ends there. So that was a very significant, without the rail, we would have not done that. We're going to be putting in 9 rail lines there, 1 rail line into the 81,000 square foot facility. But during the process of the civil design for this, which we hired Abbott Marsh out of Valparaiso for, about halfway through the design, we learned that there was not enough water there to facilitate the needs that we were going to have, and also there was sanitary sewer there, so that was okay. But halfway through the process, what happened was we went from working with the county to working with the city of LaPorte. So, then we had new specifications that we needed to meet. There was new guidelines that we needed to follow through building and planning, and et cetera. So we kind of got shifted from designing under one aspect to the other. So kind of a long-winded answer is, no, we would have not gone through this without knowing that the city's going to make an investment of a significant investment to upgrade the water and upgrade the sewer. And we're also already looking at the additional properties out there. So hopefully we'll be able to enjoy the resolution that hopefully you folks will pass this evening.
And thank you.
IST properties and IST trucking, you'll see their vehicles out there now, their trucks, and because they do work for Hickman Williams currently. So we're very appreciative of all the help that you folks have given us.
Well, and thanks to this council,
A great job, a great job.
thank you to this council and to the 39 North Conservancy Board for making this happen. We appreciate their efforts.
The
And Jeff,
utilities are everything. I mean, I think you're going to see tremendous growth out in that area. So it should be
thank
great.
you.
Do you have an idea of what the construction timeline looks like?
We're hoping to start, we're going to wait for the farmer to get the corn off the field. We've got, the architect is probably 90, well, more than that. He's 98%. He'll be offering, he's got some structural work to do on the building yet. You can imagine a building of 80,000 square foot. It's taken some time for the architect to get that work done. So he's sending, he has a August 15th deadline to send the plans, the architectural plans downstate for fire approval, state approval, and some of those type things. The civil plans are 99% done. So yeah, we're ready to roll just as soon as we get the prints down to the state and get ready to go. The property's purchased, so yeah, we're excited to go. Hopefully we have a nice winter to work.
Welcome to LaPorte.
Thanks.
Craig Phillips, planner.
Mayor, one thing before, I want to make sure I clarify one thing. I apologize for coming back to the mic, but Jeff mentioned it. Appreciate Matt Reardon and the county economic development team as well. Their partnership in transitioning the project back and forth between the county and the city was incredibly helpful. It's another, I think on a recent project I stood here and we spoke about how important that cooperation is between the county and the city. And in this instance, it definitely helped the process, and appreciate Matt and his assistance.
And I'll tell you, if you see Matt Reardon, tell him thank you, because he has been phenomenal. He has all been about the jobs and not playing politics and doing the things necessary. And I think that's why he has the reputation that he does. And he's well thought of, as you and the two of you working together shows great things in the future for LaPorte. So,
Thank you.
Craig Phillips, planner, anything you'd like to add?
No, nothing new to add.
If you could,
No, nothing new to add. Just working through the process of the necessary permits and approvals with them. We're excited to see this project come to pass. So it's a good addition to the 39 North area. So any questions you have, I'm happy to answer.
and I'll tell you, Craig has worked his butt off on all the annexation and bringing the business there, and we certainly appreciate that from your perspective.
Nick, just making sure you caught the fifth paragraph, construction should be construct.
I don't think I drafted this one.
Of course not.
Yeah.
We should have. We will make that change. We do have a motion and a second. Further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2024 budgets. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2024 budgets in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2024. General Fund, Communications, 1101-311, from 331 printing advertisement to 315 professional services, $859.12. Park and Recreation, Civic Auditorium, 2204-801, from 111 salaries to 221 operating supplies, $3,000. From 111 salaries to 241 other supplies, $500. Civic Non-Reverting, 5504-803, from 111 salaries to 391.005 LaPorte Invitational expenses, $46,800. Major Moves, 2244-532, from 441.002 Local Match Fund to 441.001 Local Tracks, $21,000. From 441.003 Park Street Project to 441.001 Local Tax, $80,000. End of resolution.
Discussion. Clerk Treasurer Parthun, just normal movement amongst funds?
Just shifting through appropriations. Everyone looked at everything real good at budget time, so.
Further discussion, comments? I do have a motion and a second.
I do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Other business? If we could just, Attorney Otis, give the public an update. We've had some questions about 39 North, and, you know, the annexation has taken place, but some of the bills are still with the increase from being a part of 39 North. I think we're very close with the 39 North Board.
Yeah, we're having weekly meetings at this point to finalize. There's about 25 or 30 appendixes of different contracts and other easements and everything else that has to be part of this agreement. In addition, there's a little over 100 properties that will be receiving credits as a part of this deal, and there's a handful that because there's leases and commercial properties that make implementing this kind of tricky. So working through that with 39 North, have another meeting on Wednesday with them.
And we will not be deciding the amounts of where to go, what goes to who.
Well, correct. Ultimately, we want 39 North to tell us that, and then we want to make sure that it's easy for the utility department to implement then.
And I will tell you, 39 North, the board has been wonderful to work with as we get down to the final details. After that is approved and we have the final agreement, what is the process here with the council to get the new rates?
Yeah, I think just, it's kind of a unique situation, and arguably it could just go through the Board of Works to get approval, but since we have so many different moving parts to it, I think it's best that both the Board of Works and council approve the agreement. And then there'll be a closing very similar to a real estate closing, because there is a pretty significant real estate component to this as well, so.
And Mr. Galloway, you support having it come through council first? I thought he might. Other messages, notes, comments?
I told, I was not at the last meeting. A couple weeks ago, my wife and I and the family went for a walk around Stone Lake on, I think it was just kind of a weeknight, or it was a Saturday night, and it was still sunny out. Stone Lake Beach was packed with people. The walking path was packed. There was 15 to 20 kayakers out. And I heard one of them say, "You know why this is awesome? It's because it's free." And I was just like, it was just a perfect night for LaPorte, I thought, and sums up all the nice things HFL has done and our Parks Department.
Absolutely. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. We'll see everybody Saturday, 2:30, the VFW. Help our veterans and eat some ribs.